and welcome to another Travelling Man Warehouse sale video. For those who are new here, Travelling Man is a comic and game chain of stores in the north of England. They are based out of Leeds. This is where their flagship store and warehouse is. Every now and again they host a warehouse sale where they hold a whole bunch of different types of stuff for cheap, for lots of various discounts, like 50% off, sometimes even more than that. Figures, board games, comics, and manga. So I do primarily hit these up to try and pick up as much nice cheap manga as I can, but I do still like to have a look around and see what they have got. This time, I must say, was quite heavily leaning towards figures and board games. You can see me like scavenging through some of the figure boxes here on the floor, trying to see what they've got. A lot of the prices, as you can see, a lot of them are like £30 down to £7, or 20 something pounds down to £7. Some of them were even only a couple of pounds. There were some crazy discounts going on. And then here is a sheet showing the general graphic novel and manga prices, depending on if it's stickered, hardcover, large volume, that kind of deal. But yeah, there was a big variety of stuff. The warehouse is located about 10-15 minute walk out of the bottom of the very centre of Leeds. You could walk it. I mean, it's probably best to try and come in a car if you can, just if you're going to pick stuff up. But if you're not and you are training into Leeds, you can still get here if you wish to attend one. When do they run? They run whenever I think they've got enough stock they want to try and offload, to be honest. They do post a few weeks ahead on their social medias when they're going to run them, and I also try and share in the Dude Discord server when I see them, or someone else does if they get there before me. But for the most part, that's probably about the amount of notice you're going to get, and they will always be run at the Leeds warehouse, at least for now. I'm not going to say never, but I don't see them running them in other parts of the country, since this is where their warehouse is situated. I'll be honest, I was very tempted by the Rem figure, and when we got all the way around, I said to Ben, if it's still there when we get to the end, I'm going to pick it up, but someone else had picked it up by the time we went to pay, so I did not. I was slightly well behaved. Yes, look at all these Q-Pops kits. So many Q-Pops kits. There were so many Funko Pops. There were so many different types of figures. I don't feel like I'm versed enough in figures to be able to tell you all the different types of stuff that there were. It is a whole world that I am starting to encroach on, but not very fast, and predominantly one character, and that's Miku. Yeah, so far I've been quite impressed with a lot of the prices, though I hadn't seen anything yet that really jumped out at me, and it pretty much all been figures as far as we could see, but at this point, then we started to hit some more board games. From my experience of attending I don't think I've missed a warehouse store. How bad is that? A warehouse store? A warehouse sale. I don't think I've missed a warehouse sale. My personal experience watching other people buy stuff is the board games are usually the most popular stuff to go. So I wasn't overly surprised that they had loads of board games out. And it's always way slower going past the board games than any other part of the warehouse sale. Just because everyone stops for the board games, whereas not everyone stops for the figures or the manga or the books, but everyone seems to stop for the board games. And here we found a loose light novel. It was our first book. We were a bit confused. We were like, it's here and it's lonesome. But as it would have it, it was actually a volume Ben was looking for to fill a gap in the series. And I do find it neat. The warehouse is like kind of like changed layout a little bit. We can see some manga off there in the distance. There's some Vagabond there and some Akira, I think, behind it. But it has changed because those shelves weren't there, I believe, when I did my warehouse tour video. But also that video is like a couple of years old now. I can't believe how long ago it's been. I swear it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Yeah, so many board games. I was taking pictures and sending them to my dad, being like, anything you fancy, because my dad loves board games and collects board games. Ben does enjoy his Star Wars and his card games, so seeing some sale Star Wars card stuff was quite nice. And yeah, they weren't even like just small board games, they were big board games. I was like, while waiting for the board game rush to move around, I was just trying to snoop out what manga they had in the back. They had lots of Green Yuri. I didn't look at the prices of every board game, but roughly it seemed to be like half price. Everything was about half price. These One Piece cards were super pretty, but I'm not overly big into card games. I don't need another money sink, so I was pretty good and I put them back, but I was just being a little bit nosy whilst we were queuing around. I'm sure some of you are like, why are you filming all the bits that aren't manga? We just want to see the manga. But I must say, in my experiences, I have found that a lot of people who've caught these videos aren't just interested in manga. They're often interested in other stuff that they have at these sales as well. So I did try to be a little bit more thorough on the sort of things they had to, in case it interests anyone else who is contemplating going but might be like, going just for the manga might not be enough, I can't justify it. And so I'm trying to show a lot more of the sort of stuff they have at these warehouse sales and the kind of prices of everything as well. Loads of Warhammer stuff, loads of books. I also wish to point out, at this point going round, we had picked nothing up for me. I had nothing, and Ben had like 4 or 5 things. Ben had more books than I did at this point. Just throwing it out there. Look at his pile. Look at that. 3 books and a card game, and they're all for Ben. None for me. I was being good. We are getting closer. I think I'd spied some manga at this point, but we were still trying to get a little closer. Random manga, they seem to be left in a box of random books. Battletech. All sorts, and they're quite like deep, like they go quite far back on these tables, and I am very short and squat and was struggling to reach the back boxes. I was properly like crawling over trying to get to the back to see what was in them. We have found some manga. There was definitely a lot less than there has been at previous ones, but I also think that a lot of the manga was like more recent releases. And when I say recent releases, I'm talking like the last few years, really, post 2020. Which you're gonna be like, that's not that, that's still quite a while ago. I don't think so. I feel like that's more recent. I hope. I'm gonna cross my fingers. I was being a little bit more behaved. It was more like stuff that I really fancied or had been looking for, or light novels that a bit for series that Ben was already collecting, trying to not pick him up new series too much. Like finding these My Happy Marriage light novel volumes was really nice. My Happy Marriage volumes are pricey. There was a good few manhwa volumes in here as well, which surprised me. So seeing like the Boxer and I I think I saw some Abandoned Empress and Daughter of the Emperor. That we can just see What's Wrong with Secretary Kim right there. Also trying to remember what light novels Ben already had. So I did start just pulling some out for him to check on the spreadsheet whilst I kept going. Did feel like a decent mix. These are usually where I find a nice good pile of my really bad isekai. The bad isekai always ends up in sale places like this, which is how I end up with so many, because I can pick it up pretty cheap, which is nice. Tomb Raider King excited me. At that very moment in time, I had volume 10 in my bag because I was halfway through reading it and I just really enjoyed it. Check out my Manhwa March reading vlog if you haven't already, where I talk about it. There were quite a few light novels in here, but not much that Ben was interested in. So again, didn't grab too much. Less viz than usual. I think that was one of the bigger things I noticed. I say that there is a bunch of viz on screen right now, but in general there was a lot less viz than there usually was. It did feel like it was just more recent stuff. I wonder if it's like more recent, they'd be like more strict on how long it takes for stock to sell in store. If it's not sold, it'll come back to the warehouse and they have a shorter turnaround maybe, or maybe they've managed to flog more of the older stuff at some of the previous warehouse sales, because this is like the fourth, fifth one now? I can't remember how many there's been. I've made a video, I believe, for each one. Actually, did I make a YouTube video for the last one or just like a TikTok? I can't remember. But I do predominantly try to talk about it, and I'll always try and push it because it would be great for more people to try and turn up and go to these. Help them clear their stock. I was being so good. There were some of those light novels I'd have potentially picked up normally, but I was being good. Well behaved, and I did not. So that was the bulk of a lot of the manga they had there, and we're now like starting to amble down to back down towards where we would pay. But there was another tranche of boxes of manga right in front where you could pay, so we're just queuing to get in front of that. But between the two boxes of manga, there was loads of tables of like card stuff, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Miss One Piece again, I think, and more board games. So many board games. Some crazy big board games. Dang. Yeah, there was a bunch of Pokemon and stuff. I nearly picked some stuff up for my sister because I think every now and again she likes to get some Pokemon cards, mostly to look at how pretty they are. But I did not. But I will next time, like a good sister. Next tranche of manga boxes. Again, I feel like I feel a similar way. There's a lot more on the newer side, I'm saying in quotations that you can't see, on the newer side of manga for the most part. And again, a lot of isekai, so I'm not against that. And then this is what I was most excited for. Seeing these volumes shocked me. I was so shocked because I've definitely not seen them at previous warehouse sales, and I've been hunting for Monster Hunter Flash Hunter volumes for years, and these are the last two volumes I needed, and I was honestly at that point I was like, the whole trip was worth it just to get these two volumes because they've been so hard to find and they go for crazy prices. And there were still some volumes left. I hope someone else managed to pick them up and save a whole bunch of money on some crazy hard to find volumes. Let me know in the comments if you've seen anything in these sale boxes that you would be tempted by. If you were able to go, what would you pick up? Me trying to crawl up to the back because I can't see what's in the boxes. And then us paying. And obviously we were this close, we might as well stop in store as well. I'm gonna hit Travelling Man first, go straight to the new releases shelf. Here we are. Quite excited to see this volume. Seen a lot of people talking about it. Lots of good stuff. Do remember, Travelling Man now does 3 for 2 on everything. So I didn't have to hold back. I could pick up anything I fancied and it could do a 3 for 2. Aha! The absolute joy I now feel. I'm still not over it. I still can't process it. I just so joyful. So much manga joy and love. It was nice to see a steamship title, and I was so confused at this one at the pricing. I wasn't going to pick it up, and then I saw the pricing and I was like, okay, it's in the same price bracket, why not? I'm gonna have a quick glance through the rest of the shelves just in case there's any new stuff or stuff that I can now pick up in a 3 for 2 because it does all publishers. Because sometimes the new releases might go straight onto the shelves, or if I've not been for a while, I might have missed them being out on the new shelves. So just having a little potter down to see if there's anything else we might have missed. We were in an ever so slight of a rush, so we didn't have too long to stop. It was sort of a real glance over the shelves and head off. I didn't really see much, so I just stuck to this one 3 for 2. Look at me go, look at me be so good. Also, how cute is this? How neat is that? It's so impressive. And then on to Forbidden Planet, just real quick, look at these Winnie the Pooh toys. Aren't they soft? Check the blind boxes, get scared by the prices on the blind boxes, and then put them away. And then into the basement with Ben, where we belong, us degenerates. I was mostly on the hunt to see if I could see some Ice Press volumes, because Ice Press volumes are still really good in a 3 for 2 in store, so I do try to hit them up. There is also a sale section. It has moved around the corner and they've replaced where it used to be with art books, and you can see there they have, like, each shelf has how much discount you get. Also, they are included in a 3 for 2. So do keep that in mind if you do decide to pick up some sale volumes in store. They are included in a 3 for 2 if you decide to group them together, or with other volumes, maybe in a lower price bracket. Just having a nice little sweep of the shelves because, again, as I said, we were slightly trying to rush a little. I saw some Miku. Isn't she cute? Why do I have this problem? I've just noticed a Bond plushie that was so cute. Also, I managed to find some Ice Press. So happy. Now, let me show you the haul. The whole haul. Okay, so we are back home. It is a couple of days later, to be honest, and I'm going to share with you the hauls, everything we picked up while we were in Leeds, both at the warehouse and in store. Now, you're going to be quite shocked, but for me, I was quite restrained. We had a whole lot of stuff to do back home, so we were slightly rushing a little bit of a trip around Leeds, but we fancied, like, walk out and some fresh air But yeah, so we were kind of rushing and I was just grabbing like, yes, I want this, off we go. Let's go through some of the bits that Ben picked up. So Ben picked this up. It's Star Wars Unlimited Shadows of the Galaxy. It is a card set. This set is based on Mandalorian, I understand, or at least the 2 characters sets that you get are Moff Gideon and the Mandalorian. He already has some cards from this game and some sets, but they are based on different characters. And at half price, he was definitely very tempted, hence why we picked it up. He also went a bit crazy for some RPG books because they were very nicely discounted. Can't remember exactly how much this one was, but I think it might have been like £8, maybe 10. So Power Rangers role-playing game, a jump through time source book. He loves these kind of books. He loves going through and reading them and sometimes doing like mini solo games. I do keep saying I'll play with him and then forget. I'm so sorry, Ben. But he just loves reading books like this a lot, especially different systems and like weird IPs and IPs that he enjoys. He likes Power Rangers, so I don't even think this is his first Power Rangers RPG book. I think he has others. He also picked this up, a Dark Souls role-playing game, and as you can see right there, that says £10, and it is a big, thick, heavy book. I have no idea how much it was RRP, but it is heavy, big, and a great price at 10. Absolute Power Book 2 Essentials. This one was 14. I think this is like, it's kind of like a companion volume for like your starter guide, I believe. Ben would be able to tell you much more than but yes, 14 for this is still pretty good, so hence why Ben grabbed it. And this one I assume is also kind of RPG. It's called The Weird. It's very colourful and bright. Thousands and thousands of amazing ideas you can use in any game. Interesting ideas. I don't know, ideas for weirdness to happen in your RPG settings, I guess. Weird dungeons, weird player characters. So yeah, just a fun, silly thing to read. Oh, there's like options when rolling dice. Oh, okay. I see. You'll definitely enjoy that. Almost back to manga. Next we have the light novels that we picked up at the warehouse. First up we have In the Land of Liedel 3. Very, very excited to see this. I don't know if I caught it in the clips I was recording, but this was actually kind of just loose. It wasn't actually sat in any of the manga book light novel boxes. It was just on with some board games. But we're very happy because he needs 3 to have a clear run. He has a gap currently. Well, no, not anymore. And this fills it. Because it's a bit battered, I think they only charged £1 for it. It's a bit scuffed around the corners and stuff, and there's no sticker, so I think they charged about £1, maybe a couple pounds for it. Very pleased, especially at those prices. Then we have 2 volumes of My Happy Marriage light novel, volume 3 and 4. He does have 1 and 5, so we just need 2 to have a clear run of this. I do try to put off picking this up until we get to sales because they are quite thin, especially for light novels, so I'd rather not pay RRP for these. Because the manga is very slow releasing, it is definitely one I have contemplated swapping to the light novel for. I just haven't yet. Just so much manga to read. Final light novel we have is Ethereal Scenes of Setsuna's Journey, volume 2. This was the only one we ummed a bit about picking up because he's not yet read the volume 1 of this, and I'm a bit mixed feeling on the manga, but because it wasn't stickered, it was going to be pretty cheap, and it very much was, so we decided to throw it in anyway. And I'd been quite reserved with his light novel pickups this time around, so decided to go for it anyway. Next we have manga pickups at the warehouse tour. We have The Yearning Fox Lies in Wake. I assume it's a one-shot, there's no numbering. A supernatural BL romance from the creator of Turns Out My Online Friend Is My Real Life Boss. Oh, I didn't realise that. That had been a really cute one that I'd quite liked, so that's quite exciting. Yeah, I'm going in blind with this one. Then we have Lost Lad London Volume 3, which is the final volume. I hadn't realised it was the final. For some reason I thought it was 4 volumes. I think all of my Lost Lad volumes have been picked up in sale sections. I understand it to be a mystery series. Look, it's a bit bent, so it was cheap. I understand it to be a mystery series, and mystery series my preference is to wait and try and read them all together. So I was holding out to grab Volume 3, and here it is. Managed to nab it, also in sale. Very pleased. Now, to be truthfully honest, I did think I had put this one back. It was my mistake. Just wasn't paying attention. My Beautiful Man Volume 2. Now, it is Tokyo Pop, and they tend to be more pricey anyway, so even with stickered, it was very much discounted a whole bunch. I don't have Volume 1, which was why I thought I'd put it back. I was trying to be a bit better, but I have it now, and I'll try and track down Volume 1 to read this too. Final manga pickups at the Travelling Man warehouse sale, which honestly, in my opinion, made the whole trip worth it. If I had managed to just pick these 2 volumes up, it would have been worth it. And we have Monster Hunter Flash Hunter Volume 6 and 7. Now, anyone who might not be aware of this series is incredibly out of print and very hard to find, and volumes of this can go for painful amounts online individually. Some of the more painful volumes to try and find are the ones in the middle for some reason, or at least the second half of the series. These are the only 2 volumes I needed to complete it. So I am now complete on this series, and I'm fairly sure because it's not stickered, I paid £1 each for these. I am absolutely elated. Ben loves Monster Hunter. Ben had been reading the manga, and we're like, okay, we'll try and wait till we can get some more and you can continue. And that's when I learned just how hard it was to find. But here they are, the last 2 volumes. They had a couple volume 7s, I can't remember, I'll have to check the footage again. You'll have seen it much more recently than I. They had a couple more volume 7s, and they had a couple other like later volumes, which was wonderful to see. I was slightly tempted to grab them to like share them out to people that were looking for them, but I thought, no, I'll just leave them for anyone else who comes across them. My personal preference is to not buy and sell on, so that was never my intent. If I were to buy more, it would be to just pass them on to others I know are looking for them. But no, personally, very, very pleased to find these, and they're pretty okay condition as well. So happy. It does suggest that if they were already stickered with these, they were potentially in a Travelling Man already and I missed them at some point. But I've got them now. I'm very pleased. Ben is very happy because now we can now read the rest of the series, which is complete at 10, by the way. Okay, our next stack is volumes I picked up in Leeds. We went into Leeds, had a little walk around. We stopped by the Travelling Man store and also in Forbidden Planet International. If you don't know, Travelling Man in store are now doing 3 for 2 on everything, all publishers. Actually, no, there is one publisher they don't do 3 for 2 on, and it is a specific light novel brand publisher, and I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but they don't have very many of them, and they're like plastic wrapped and come with a bunch of bonuses, and the logo kind of looks like a book. I'll try and remember the name and put it on screen, set myself some homework for later. But yes, everything else is 3 for 2, all publishers, and yes, it's great. So these 3 are my pickups that I got in Travelling Man Leeds in the store. We have Yakuza and his Omega Raw Desire Volume 2. It's a steamship. I have already read this one. I am not opening it because there is a lot of smutty scenes. This is the only one I think I've read in this stack so far. It's a nice, fun, smutty Alpha Omega fated mate. Yeah. One of my more preferred steamships, I must say. Then we have Jean Bride Volume 1. I've seen a lot of people very excited that it got a license and is now out, but otherwise I'm going into this very blind, and I'm going to even not look at the back synopsis, so I'm going in fully blind. And then the final pickup we have is Punk's Triangle. I think this might be a one-shot because no numbering. Also going in very blind. It's plastic wrapped. What I find really sad is these 2 were both the same RRP. And look at that thickness difference. I'm quite surprised because this sort of thing is usually $13.99, but this is not. And I've checked like other retailers and they are also selling it at the same price. So it's 7C's pricing, but usually something slightly thicker, they'd end up pricing it a little up. But they haven't on this one, which is surprising. Oh yeah, I've just realized on the back, it does say $14.99 USD, which does suggest that that is it. They have the same. That's odd. Not complaining, but just as an FYI, I was quite surprised at how thick this was for that price. And the last 3 pickups from this trip were from Forbidden Planet International. And first off, we have My Cat is a Weirdo Volume 2. I recently picked up Volume 1. It is so cute and adorable. It is full colour. There is also a lot of pictures of actual cats, which makes it a just absolute 10 out of 10 read. It takes me a little longer to go through it because it's not laid out in like a usual manga format, and there's a whole bunch of like stuff around the edges I want to read, and just looking at the cats and the silly, it's so cute. I love it. I was sending pictures to my sister, who's not really big in manga, but she's big on cats, and she was enjoying it as well. So part of my quest to complete a manga cat collection. I guess. Next we have My Secretly Hot Husband Volume 2, which I thought I'd ordered and I'd completely forgotten to order. I'm such a fool. And then I saw it in store and I was like, excellent, let's try and pick this one up, and here it is. Volume 1 very much felt like all set up, so I'm looking forward to like diving into more meat of the story with this one. And then final volume from Forbidden Planet and the Hall is Itaewon Class Volume 4. This had been a really fun revenge story. I feel like it's a lot for what you get. I'm going through the volumes really quickly, and with how much they cost, it's painful. But I do like a good revenge story, so I am still enjoying it. And there we have it. This was my Traveling Man warehouse sale / run into Leeds afterwards haul. I know for me, it is borderline on modest, isn't it? I'm quite proud of myself, to be honest. But it was really nice because I've been so busy with work and a whole bunch of other personal things all happening at the same time. It was really nice to just walk around Leeds a little bit, and I think that was mostly what we were wanting, but we had to come back and still do more stuff. Did you manage to get down to the Traveling Man warehouse sale? Let me know in the comments. Did you pick up anything? If you did, also let me know. If you're curious when the next one is, they do promote them on their social medias about 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time usually. I think the shortest they've done is a week ahead of time, but it's not usually that short. It's usually a couple of weeks. So check out your socials. I also share in the Discord, the Do Dare Discord, as soon as I find out the dates. And the warehouse is in Leeds. It is not far away from the city centre. It's probably about a 15-ish minute walk down from the train station. If you're unable to drive yourself, you'd be able to probably walk down. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm happy to try my best to try and answer if I am able. Remember to like and subscribe and check out my channel memberships for early access. Otherwise, I hope you have the most wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Bye!